Good afternoon and welcome to St George Sailing Club for the final heats of the Riley Marine Fittings Club Championships for heats 8 and 9 and for the last time for season 24-25. I'm Jimmy Bury and hello to all our friends watching from Australia and around the world for what promises to be another great day down here on Georges River. Joining me today in commentary is Jack Andrew. Jack, how are you, mate?
Mate, very well. Thanks, Jimmy. Good to be joining you here.
Great to have you back on after, where were you, Port Stephens, I think, last time we required you?
Yeah, somewhere on some slow old boat, yeah.
Yeah. So we haven't got much time. So, Jack, what's the weather doing today as far as...
We're looking like a light southeasterly, Jimmy, so we're looking sort of maybe 8 to 10 knots, hopefully. Might even be a bit less than that, unfortunately, but we'll see how we go. Tide's going to be tide's running in all race, which is going to be basically going across the course all race. So might favour the left-hand side, upwind. We'll wait and see. A fair few of these sailors know more than I do, so we'll see how they go.
And alluding on that, or expanding on that, Jack, the course for today, I think they're on the southeast course, are they?
We're on the southeast course, which is basically a figure-8 course. So we will head up into Woolooware Bay. We'll round that to port, run down to Waldron Street, round that to starboard, up to Pelican Gut, and then back to the clubhouse. That's the first figure-8. Then we do an up and back, and then a figure-8 to the finish in front of the club.
Very good. And so the club championship, it's close.
It's close
for some, but not close for one boat. But we'll have a quick look at the point score. There they are.
Yeah, as you can see there, Bosca has a reasonable scorecard there to date. They'll be hoping to still finish the regatta with finish the season with dropping a first. So the really looking at who's going to get second. So we're looking at Noakes and Tagara there on 12 and 13 points. I know that both those boats are really keen on winning the best of the rest division.
The best of the rest. But, so the been a funny old season down here. It seems to be every time the Sail Media team arrives, the breeze goes away down here. The Greg Junk that went past earlier sort of alluded to it was us that makes the breeze disappear when we come down here.
Yeah, I thought that was quite a harsh call by Junkie. It was probably fair, but it's harsh all the same.
I just thought this is how it always is down here.
Well, to quote everyone who I've ever sailed against at Belmont, it's not normally like this. Shout out to all our friends at Belmont.
And there's a boat that will no doubt be crowned club champion, the Bosca Build, on screen there, with Keegan York filling in for Pete Mackey, who's still on the road to recovery. Still recuperating from his hip surgery. Lucky Keegan has nothing else on his schedule most of the time, so he was able to jump in and fill in. So hopefully he won't slow them down too much. Keegan, does he actually work, or is he just full-time sailor these days? Well, to give Keeg some credit, he does actually work. I started with him at Port Stephens last week, and between the hours of 9 and 9:05, he would get the laptop out and do a bit of work in the morning, so... Like checking sea breeze or something? Yeah, pretty much. Perfect. Checking out what his golf handicap is now, or when he can go for a moth. As you do. But and special thanks to Riley Fittings for jumping on board this season to sponsor the club championships down here. It's long-standing family name down this way, and it's good to see that the new owners of that business have continued on their association with the St George Sailing Club, so thanks for them. Yeah, it's been great to see. It's been absolutely great. So just into the 5-minute sequence, Jackie, and then we're away. So I think last time I was on comms for this course, we did a bit of pick the podium, and all we did is put the mocker on the rest of the fleet. But I actually think today, Bosca's got a new main on that Kurt's been working on. I'm not sure how quick it is. I'm not going to say that's not as quick as their old one. But, yeah, we'll wait and see. But I think the Tagara boys are primed for a big one today. Yeah, they're there or thereabouts. And they just, like I know last season they were coming up to Manly a fair bit and doing some training and that was showing in their results. But I don't know if they've been doing as much training this this season, but yeah, it's as you said, it's a play for the rest of them, and it's out of those guys. Noakes and Tribeca is a real outside chance, but because they got to average points for the beginning of the season when their boat was being
that's
repaired,
right.
so it sort of puts a mocker on their season overall.
But look, Tagara, they had a up and down season. Probably the highlight was also a low light at the Nationals where they led from start to finish and crossed the line only to find out they were OCS. So when I say they led from start to finish, they led actually from before the start. But
before the start,
yeah. But so I'm pretty sure they'll be hoping to finish it off on a bit of a high now. So, but Noakes too. They've been going quick. So. I know Tommy Dawson and Bryce and Jerome are very keen to, and they're going again next year as well, which is good. So, they're probably the two that are going to be the most interesting today.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see, and I believe we've got potentially 3 new 13s potentially coming.
Yeah, it's great news,
St.
isn't
George,
it? Yeah, it's great news for the 13s. This season we've only had 1 13 sailing down here, and because of that, not a lot of competition for Tom and Noah. So hopefully next year with a few more 13s, we get some actual class racing. It'll be good to see. And hopefully that will improve their results at the States and the Nationals. Yeah,
well, they did quite well overall, considering they don't have anyone to train against. As you know, Jack, when you're out training by yourself, you're always high and fast.
Yeah.
Until you got to match up against someone.
That rude awakening.
Very rude awakening.
Yeah, no, the boys on the Noakes 13 have done really well this year. Like you said, now they're sailing with the MG14s down here, and they're not exactly the same type of boat. The 13s are a fair bit quicker, so they get a little bit of starting practice, but that's about it. So we've got just over a minute and a half to go. The boats will be starting to line up very shortly.
And if you're looking for something to do during the off-season, that clubhouse that was just on the screen there, the St George Sailing Club, come on down and have lunch on the deck.
So a lot of the boats starting to line up are at the boat end. So it's going to be quite... I don't think any of them will actually get... Well, they could get to the pin, Jimmy. It seemed to be the pin was favoured in the earlier classes, but... Okay, so under 1 minute to go now. And although we don't have a huge fleet down here in St George, they do like to rack up right next to each other.
Friendly mob down here.
Yeah, that's right. Bosca looking a little bit buried there, but they should be able to get through. Tagara in a good position, if not a fraction early.
I'd like to see Bosca Build start a minute after and see how they go.
Oh, a little bit of a handicap start or a...
Yeah.
It's not the stall gift.
Well, we could start something.
Okay, 10 seconds. Here we go. Witchard got plenty of boat speed, as is TTR.
Noakes and Tribeca at the boat, a little bit bound up there.
And looks like a clear start, which is good to see. So yeah, Noakes not getting away as well as they'd hoped. Looks like we're in a bit of a right-hand phase at the moment with the breeze. So I'd imagine most of these boats will continue on the way they're going to take advantage of the tide, taking them up into Woolooware Bay. A couple of the back markers in Lenny, and so far so good. Having to tack out early to get some clear air. Bosca looking very high at the moment. But once again, I think it's probably a product of that right-hand shift at the moment, because I notice Tribeca and Noakes also up in it at the moment. The real question is, Jimmy, is this a a persistent shift, or is this just a normal oscillation? We haven't seen them being that high in the other fleets so far. Are we seeing a little bit of a shift to the south?
You'd be the person to know down here, Jack. I'm sort of
Hey, mate,
still as a bit
Jimmy,
confused with compasses down here.
A wise man asks more questions than he has answers. So,
Mate, every time I've been down here, I've asked a million questions of you and everyone else, and I'm still confused. It's a different beast down here, but it's a beautiful one.
okay, so it's good. The other thing the skiffs have to contend with today, we have quite a large sailboard fleet out on the course as well. So there might be the odd little bit of crossing, coming together of different types of boats. Hopefully no one has any serious issues, but I'm sure if they all follow their rules, nothing will go wrong.
There's the guys on Noakes, you can see very comfortably just holding on to 2 on wire there. There's the windsurfers in the background. That shot you were talking about.
So Wichards, they started on the pin end. They had plenty of speed off the pin. And yeah, they seem to get away, but it looks like the boat end might have, with that right-hand phase, Noakes have come right back into it from where they were. Noakes were probably 15 seconds late at the start. And,
there's the Noakes 13. The boys are happy, giving us a wave.
So off camera, Noakes has tacked back again to head back to the right. Cigara, Wichards, Bosco all still heading left. So the other thing that's up for grabs today, Jimmy, is the annual point score, the season point score.
I believe it's pretty close.
It is very, very close. So 11-team currently leading on 71 points. Bosco Build second on 73.2. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But also Noakes in the mix as well on 75. So yeah, to quote an old phrase, anything can happen. It's always hard with the handicap too, especially now we've gone to percentage handicaps to actually know what you've got to do to beat someone. As I always say, just start quick. That's probably the best option.
That's the best option, absolutely. Yeah, I've really noticed that percentage handicap thing is just a real bugbear to get your head around, and people are forever questioning it.
Yeah, I'd hate to be a handicapper.
That would be difficult, wouldn't it, Jack?
Or be involved in the results in any way, shape or form. So.
Yeah, we have this guy who helps out in the background normally for us and messages the boat with what he thinks it is. So we're pretty lucky, but I don't think he's available today.
No, I don't think so either. Whether he's right or wrong, usually he's always very confident.
You've got to sound confident first, mate.
Well, that's right.
And here's the Tribeca on screen.
So you've got
Jordan Curtis, is it?
Yeah, guest appearance on the sheet.
There you go.
James Junior Turner, unfortunately, had other commitments today, so Geordie jumped in.
Seems to always have commitments, Junior.
He's a very busy boy. So we're probably about a minute or two here from the top mark, and from the looks of things, Bosco has not cleared out, but has a nice, probably 20-second lead. Cigara looking good in second.
There's the mighty St George Sailing Club at the top of screen there, right in the middle.
In God's country. Best waterway in Sydney. What do you reckon, Jimmy?
I'll agree with you while I'm here, Jack.
Okay, so Bosca on a lay coming into the mark, as is Tagara and Witchard. As you'll see on screen, there's quite a few speed humps along the way. Between sailboards, skates, and MG14s.
Considering the sailboards started, what, 6 minutes prior?
Yeah.
You know, for them all to be here at the same time is a bit of a handful.
So jibe set on the Bosca. So this is it. Yeah, okay. It's not a bad play, actually. So next around Tagara. Likewise, jibe setting. Obviously, most of the boats just jibe setting here to get back into that breeze out of the south. Across the east, it doesn't look to be a lot of pressure.
No, we're looking over to the Wishart.
Oh, Witchard. Joss pretty quick to get on the centreboard there.
Doesn't like getting wet.
You can't wet the hair.
Right.
It's all about the hair, mate.
The hair?
Yep.
Perfect.
So Tribeca, the first one to bear away set, followed by TTR. Great overhead shot there. Okay, so the Beauchamp Metalworkers and Levantine next around.
Bringing up the rear. He's so far so good, I believe, is it?
So far, there should be another boat out there, the Lenny.
Just found it.
Yeah,
Middle
Lenny's
of the bridge,
coming.
mate.
Yep. So far, so good to be the next one around. I think maybe we head on down, and it's only my relatives now coming around, so.
Seems to be the case down here, mate. It's everyone's almost related.
Almost.
Almost,
yeah. Did you mean almost everyone, or almost everyone's almost? Yeah.
It's a bit of both.
Yeah. So with the breeze being a bit more on the right here, it's actually a little bit different, this course, for the sailors than normal. The normal sort of formula would be to come around that mark, bear away set, and it's usually quite a tight run down here to Waldron Street. As it is, you can see a lot of the boats jibe set at the top mark. Now tough picking that ley line with a run-in tide and what angle they're not quite used to. Let's see how they go. Now, apart from the lack of breeze, it's brilliant conditions to go sailing in. Another 5 knots would be really nice, but
the Tagara that was just on screen is not really letting Bosca get away with it like they have in previous races. So it's good to see that we've got a little race on our hands down here.
Yeah, the only thing is that I can see Tagara, they're just a little bit overlay. So they're going to have to put a couple of jibes in here, whereas Bosca's gone straight in. Although they're coming in quite slow, the Bosca.
Got an MG to contend with at the mark, which just get inside of.
I'd say the delta there between Bosca and Tagara has closed from the top mark. So, yeah, they've done really well down that run. So Noakes having to contend with a skate here, which is unfortunate for them. Hopefully they can get around up inside them. No, unfortunately, no, they have to go on the outside. Okay, Tribeca next around. And Tribeca is going to be followed in by the Beauchamp Metalworkers.
It's almost square running to the mark.
Square running to the mark, yeah. Once again, they've done well. They were behind the TTR at the top mark. And they've got around in front of them. So. I think TTR would be quite disappointed with where they are at the moment in this race.
Yeah, well, they were one of the boats that straight set, and
yeah.
I wonder whether that, as you alluded to last time we're up at that top mark, whether that was enough for them just to drop that bit back.
I think there's plenty of holes on this course where you can lose a fair bit of distance.
Is Tagara and Bosca on screen? Where do we go this time? We go to Pelican Gut.
Yeah, Pelican Gut. So it's just up here inside where the old oyster leases used to be. Challenging mark placement. If you get the ley line wrong, you can find some of those old oyster shells and what have you.
I don't think you can say that you've never sailed down here if you haven't had a go at running aground on them at some point.
Exactly. If you haven't run aground, you haven't tried. So Bosca actually looks like they've picked up a nice shift out of that tack and have probably doubled their lead on Tagara. Bosca will be tacking back very shortly, I'd say. Otherwise, they'll overlay this mark.
Round this one to
starboard.
Starboard.
And then back to the clubhouse mark, rounded to port. Okay, Bosca tacks. Somewhat of a loose cover there on Tagara, off camera.
Okay. Not far off those oyster leases, aren't the old oyster leases here?
No. When you're constricted somewhat with a constricted waterway, you take every bit of room you can. Okay, so Bosca about to round the mark. Nice little gain on that work to Bosca.
It's funny how small Sarah is, but after every tack, she's always hiking the boat down. Like every bit counts.
Yeah, it's not something I like. Back in my day, you would have been kicked out of the Skippers Union for that. It's something that I was never accused of, hiking.
Did you even have hiking straps in your boat?
Yeah, it helped me get in the boat after, like on the beach.
Right, okay.
I'd jump in and grab them and come in like a seal on a rock shelf.
Better than watching me try and climb in the boat back in the day, mate.
So Noakes coming in around this mark, third. Coming to shot there. Nice set.
Great set. Like to see him ease a little bit of vang, maybe. They're watching this back.
So I had a few of the sailors worried on the beach when I walked through the rigging area early. I told everyone that I had goss on other boats and I was going to let it all out during the telecast. Basically, they all asked for the goss straight away, and I said, no, you're going to have to watch it tonight, boys. So they'll all be watching. The joke's on them because I got no goss.
It's always the way. So we'll stay with this leading pack, and the next ones around will be Tribeca, TTR, and our Beauchamp metal workers.
And Jimmy, with the placings as they are, it's going to set us up for a great last race to decide who's going to get second in the club championship between Noakes and Tagara. This will leave them equal on points if the positions hold.
That swim for Wishart was very costly.
Yeah, off camera, Wishart's probably a good 3 to 4 minutes behind the majority of the fleet after that swim. As we scoot down here to the clubhouse mark, once again, interesting that the difference in the breeze direction. Normally down here, they're putting a couple of jibes in to get down to this mark. As it is, Bosco, who's just about to go around the mark, has laid it in one. I think it looks like they might have even extended a bit on Tagara again. Tagara a little bit higher. May struggle to get down to the mark, especially with the tide running in. And Noakes is on camera at the moment. They're probably going to be in the same situation.
Went over and had a look at that Bosca this morning, the Bosca build. Immaculate.
Yeah, the attention to detail is incredible, isn't it?
It's something to see. Like, I know I used to have nice boats, and Pete Mackey always had meticulous boats, and the Riley back in the day was obviously well looked after by Johnny. And but yeah, the Bosca build is a whole next level up.
Look, I think there's a lesson there for a lot of sailors that the race doesn't start at 2:30. The race starts when you prepare your boat. Race starts, in the off season when you're thinking about what you're going to do with your program and things. The weekend racing doesn't start on Saturday. It starts on as soon as you finish the race before.
You should come down to what the 18s, Jack. It starts about 11 o'clock on a Sunday in the park, mate. If you ask around.
I often find it funny when you get requests on a Friday afternoon to help fix something or what should someone use for a new halyard or things like that. And it's like, well, that's something that would have been good on a Monday morning. But anyway.
Yeah, it's... an unusual tactic compared to what, like, you know, where this mark is at the club, Jack, isn't too far from where the start boat was. And they're all working this right-hand side where that last time they were all working that left-hand side. Is like, is the breeze swung that much that the tide doesn't become a problem?
I think the tide's, potentially. Obviously we don't know what's going through their minds, but, you know, two schools of thought. One, you work up on middle flat and stay out of the tide that way and get to the tide going up into Woolooware, or do you come right over here and try and get out of the tide? With the position of the moored boats and the channel marker up here, it's not that easy to actually get out of the tide. But I think, if you compare what Tagara has done, they seem to have clawed back a little on Boscabild. They came over here, got out of the tide. Boscabild went straight up the channel. So I think the tide's still playing a part, but probably the breeze, the angle of the breeze is playing a bigger role at the moment. Realistically, we're talking south-southeast breeze at the moment. Like I said just after the start, it looks like it is a persistent shift.
Yeah.
So.
We're just behind the Noakes boat. You've got the Bosca there on screen, but the Noakes guys seem to be massively heavy on the vang compared to everyone else. And just thinking whether they've got a little bit too much vang for this way to breeze.
Well, that's right. I think you mentioned it around one of those top marks when they, just after their set, they seemed to have a lot of vang on as well. So I don't know whether they got their rig set up differently, or is it just a user error or user setting at the moment?
Yeah, well, like a lot of these skiffs these days have like a vang reader, which is like a knot on a bungee with some numbers behind it on the boom, and all you need is one little knot or something in that, and you might be pulling it on to, say, I don't know, argument's sake, number 6, and the knot in it, because you're heavily relying on that reader, it could change just that little bit, and just like that, there's a vang let off a little bit. So
yeah, that's right. Even just something as simple as when they've attached it, when they've been rigging if they're using a sister clip or a clip of some description, it's twisted up, and they can just throw all their settings out.
And there's the view that the guys on Noakes had of Tagara around their forestay. There's the mighty Bosca build, and I think again, Jack, it looks like they've extended their lead out here on the water.
They look to be just that fraction higher than all the other boats. They look like they're carrying the same speed most of the time, but they've just got that extra 2 to 3 degrees of height, and that makes a massive difference, I think.
Well, Keith's sailed with you. He just doesn't like working the main, so let his poor Sarah just to steer around him, right?
Exactly right.
You went through that your whole life.
I'll pull it on, you steer around me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's actually if you're looking at Keith's way he's trimming the main at the moment, he is actually allowing it to breathe a bit and allowing Sarah to steer the boat. But in all fairness, not that I like being fair, but
especially not to your cousin, right?
Well, we give each other shit all the time, but it's mostly harmless. We've been doing quite a bit of sailing together on the yachts, and some of the crews are split on whether I'm the Timu Keegan or Keegan's the Timu Jack. So I think that just comes down to a popularity contest. You can see how light it is there. Crew's having to bend knees. Upright, back's upright. So. Okay, let's see if the set here on Bosco's can beat the set that Noakes had at Waldron Street last lap. Now keep in mind too, this is a windward leeward, so we're going straight back down to the club, so will they jibe set again? No, they've gone for a bear-away set. When the mark's to the left, they go right. When the mark's to the right, they go left.
What would you name, mate?
Look at that. Great shot. So we've got Tagara second round.
Closely followed by the Noakes 13. Good to see young Noah back out on the water. He helped out last time.
Yeah, I heard I wasn't going to get my job back. That did a great job.
It was more Matty Chalmers, I think, said that than anyone. It's good to see Matty. I haven't seen him for probably 10 years, 10 plus years. So
has been a while, yeah.
Always good to see that bloke. Always good for a laugh.
Now, the question is here, is that if the Noakes 13 can get in the way of the Tagara, not that they can this lap, but you know, do you think there's any teams racing to the Noakes 16 and the Noakes 13? Like, not that we're suggesting anything, just hypothetically.
And interesting, Noakes just rounding, Noakes 16 just rounding the mark. They elected to jibe set. So
we have a split.
I guess they've got to really look at throwing something at Tagara if they want to have any chance of locking away second.
Yeah. So at that angle at the moment, Noakes is not far off pointing at the bottom mark, so...
They set on a nice little puff here, actually, compared to...
They're just starting to sail out of it now, so nicely, yep, drive back through it. So Tagara is still going to cross Noakes. They're still probably got about a 20-second lead on Noakes there.
Yeah,
not a lead, a second.
Yeah, for second. But you'd sort of think Noakes closed up the gap there just a little bit, possibly, Jack.
Yeah, certainly gained out of that jibe setting there. Just a shame that pressure didn't stay with them for longer. It would have been right on Tagara's hammer.
Yeah, as you said, they were in a really good letdown after the set. Just for the viewers at home, the next boats aren't around the top mark, but you've got Tribeca next, TTR Civil, Beauchamp Metalworkers, and then So Far So Good from 11-teen, and then Lenny
and Richard.
Where are they?
Richard is behind Lenny,
yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Lenny's got with Dave Gibson steering, former 18-foot skiff sailor with his son Thomas is on the sheet today. So good to see the generations following through.
And another relo of yours, I'm gathering.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you guys going to go with the federal election down here? Do you guys just have
We have our own seat.
I was going to say, do you have your own seat?
Yeah. So, Bosco off camera looking quite light. Tagara looks like they're bringing in a lot more pressure. In fact, they're going to come in that close. It's almost going to be Tagara having to avoid Bosco. And slam.
Yeah, come down for these two. Oates is going down there too, right?
Noakes is going to sail right round everyone here. Look, out on the right and the coming back in on port. Game on. Bosco first to third. In fact, Noakes look like they're actually struggling to lay this there. Low hooks coming in.
They're always good days.
You watch. As soon as I said Bosco first to third, they're going to come in and round inside these guys and still lead. There we go.
No panic whatsoever.
Just giving the other boats a sniff, making it interesting.
Interestingly enough, just behind these three is the Noakes 13. So they didn't really lose anything out down that run whatsoever.
They did not lose a thing. If you remember, Noakes was probably only, the Noakes 13 was probably only 10 seconds behind Tagara at the top mark.
Yeah.
And they're probably, 15 seconds behind him now. So. Now, usually we see the 13s in, when the breeze is up, they usually keep up the 16s reasonably well because they end up with the rig not much different. In this lighter stuff, usually the 16s pretty much have their way with the 13s because the big rigs go in the 16s and bigger kites. So that's a great effort by the Noakes 13 to hang with them.
If the Noakes 13's watching, probably a little bit more bang when they watch this one back. I'd like to see them after they rounded that mark.
The Vang Doctor.
Well, I'm trying to give some help, mate. I don't know anything else. I wasn't really a sheet hand, I was a Vang hand.
You're a Vang hand.
Yeah. There's a Tribeca coming. They came down on the face of a nice one to close up the gap a little, but I think they might run out of a bit of runway here.
Well, they've certainly come in once again a lot closer, as is TTR. TTR really come back into it as well. Looks like most of these boats have carried breeze down to the likes of Bosco. With the leading pack off camera, Noakes has actually tacked early as well and pretty much paralleling Bosco up this work.
Tribeca dropping the chute and they're just caught in waves of a powerboat that's going around. Never makes fun.
Okay. So you can see there on camera now, Noakes attacked a little bit earlier. Bosco and Tagara are pretty much on the same line. So Noakes should get back into some beneficial current before the other two boats. Might allow them to chip away at the lead a little bit. What do you think of Tagara's rig there, Jimmy?
I actually don't mind it. I think they've set up quite well on the Tagara, and they sail it quite well. Like, the only thing I'd like to see on that boat is probably Tommy just take one butt cheek forward and close that gap to Sammy. Just to, like, these boats are so weight critical. Like,
100%.
You look at most of the skippers these days, they should be over at Randwick riding today instead of out here sailing.
That's a very good point you make, Jimmy. Yeah, that on any boat, keeping your crew weight together is going to be help with the what is it? The moment of inertia. It's going to help. So this is the last lap of this first race. This is the figure 8 to the finish.
Figure 8 to the finish. So up to Woolooware, down to Waldron Street.
Yep. Pelican Guard
home.
Club. Yep. Finish in front of the club.
Look at me, make a local out of me yet. Just won't be able to vote in the local seat down here.
There's only 2 ways into that electorate.
I'm good, thanks, Jack. Interestingly, Noakes crossing Tagara there.
Yeah. Like I said, whether that was just getting to that beneficial current a little bit earlier, or whether they just had a bit better boat speed. Bosca has a nice cover on the Noakes coming back this way, so Tagara on shot there. They got their bit of freedom.
That, I believe, is Tagara with a skate with the yellow spinnaker. So it's our satellite shot.
Tagara looks like they got slightly more pressure out here on the left-hand side of the course. I think Bosca will still cross Tagara quite comfortably, but it'll be interesting between Tagara and Noakes. A case of what could have been too for Noakes in the first race of the club championship this year. If you remember, Jimmy, when we had absolutely no breeze and the race had to be abandoned after Noakes basically won the race. So their club championship could have been a whole lot different if they come away from that first weekend with a 1 next to their name.
Yeah, absolutely. But Bosca's going on, or seem to be going on with this one, and as you said earlier, it's pretty nice to be able to discard a 1.
Yeah.
But,
the old picket fence.
Back to the top mark, we've got Tagara just leading Noakes around. So Tagara back in front of the Noakes. I mean, 4th place is a long, long way away.
It is. I'm going to give that set to Tagara. It's an easy one, that one. Yeah, really surprising at the bottom mark last time where we said the boats brought breeze down. It's really surprising how the leaders got away from them again up that work. The likes of the Tribeca and the TTR were probably only 35, 40 seconds behind. Now they probably look like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. As Bosca there using the new technique of Keegan not having to do anything. Sarah's working the main.
It was always my favourite when the main sheet was taken off me. I was like, I'm good with that.
Back in the day, Keegan wasn't keen on that. He said it helped him keep him on the boat. Bosca negotiating some traffic there nicely. Okay, off camera to Tagara is the first to jibe between Tagara and Noakes. Noakes standing on quite a bit actually.
There's the delta between Tagara and Bosca Build.
Off camera there, Jimmy, Noakes is actually looking like they've just got a reasonable angle of pressure there. Doesn't look overly fresh, but a nice angle. Whereas
Angle's everything here at the moment, isn't it?
yeah.
It's Spinnaker on the Tagara in the background just seems to continually collapse a lot easier than the other Spinnakers.
Yeah, well, it's a different design, different sail maker. Barracuda sails, I believe that Spinnaker's made by. So, you know, probably a slightly different methodology behind it. Sammy Worrell in the bow, you know, maybe just not as lazy as Kurt. Doesn't clamp it on. Lets it roll a bit more.
Yeah, well, as you know, rolling it is the fastest. This is obviously the fastest trim for a Spinnaker. But I think you're right. I think Noakes is potentially drawn blood here. Not on screen at the moment, but not far off.
Yeah, we'll see in about 20 seconds' time how they've come out of it.
Sort of a bit surprised that the guys on Tagara, you know, with the overalls in play, that you'd let Noakes go, even that, you know, there's still a little bit of sailing to go, Jack.
Yeah, it was interesting. As I said, they jibed out first. They let Noakes go. So, and yeah, that looks like it's cost them at this stage. So Bosca first around. But geez, it's tight racing, isn't it, Jimmy? Like, you know, they're going 45 minutes and there's 10 seconds from first to third. So. Oh, Tagara got an issue with their Spinnaker halyard. No, fixed. So one work and a run to the finish.
And a short work at that.
It's a short work, and judging by last time they came across that run, it's you know, a one leg straight to the finish. So, you know, if you're not first around this mark, you're going to struggle to get past anyone.
Tagara throwing something at him by attacking out, and
Noakes letting them no, Noakes tacking as well.
Noakes looked over their shoulder and have decided to go back and try and keep Tagara in their pocket. You'll see there on the Bosca build, Jack, what I was alluding to earlier with how close Sarah Lee's sitting to Keegan compared to Tommy on Tagara. Yeah, Sarah's actually sitting in at the moment, but still a lot closer to when she gets out there. She's a lot closer to Keegan's legs and...
Yeah, 4.5, she's right up again, right up level with Keegan's back foot there.
Yeah.
So Tagara looking okay at the moment. When they come back, they'll have starboard on Noakes, of course. Bosca looks like they've got a nice little bit of control now over the other two. Once again, they just look to be that little bit higher.
And that's all you want coming up this last little work, is just be the controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let the other two make the decisions where you go. You don't mind. You just keep that gap between you and the next top mark. You're the bath plug in that situation.
Yeah. And the further they go across here, the better Bosca's looking. Tagara sailed into a big hole. Advantage Noakes. In fact, I think what we were saying about the skipper's placement, I think Tommy Dawson, just on screen there on the Noakes, has probably got the best positioning of the three.
Almost sitting in the forward end position.
Yeah.
Which on a day like today, dead flat,
Exactly.
you do not want that tuck in the water one iota.
No, exactly right. It's a lot of boat to be dragging through.
Tagara just tacked and...
Noakes with a little covering attack on them. Look like they're on lay. Bosca's going to attack a little bit further. There they go now. Yeah, you can see there on the shot the position of power that Bosca currently holds over the other two boats. Well and truly has them in the pocket.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it, when you're in that position though, Jack? Like it's
a nicer feeling when you've crossed the finish line.
Absolutely.
Anything can happen, mate. Anything can happen. That's true, but you can come around this mark and you get no breeze. You sail up high looking for it. Next thing you know, the boat's behind you, come around with pressure. And, yeah, your pants have been pulled down.
And there's your other cousin, the sponsor of this boat, Kieran. Is he down here today
to bask in the glory of the club championship? I don't think so. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard that he was coming down. But shout out to Spesh if you're watching, mate. Hope to see you on presentation night. It is true, but Bosca build for all your home building needs. Kieran Humphreys, give him a call. Noakes second around. Now, if positions stay the way they are now, Noakes is going to go into this last race with a 2-point lead over Tagara for second place overall.
from what I'm seeing today, Jack, I don't think that's enough.
I don't think so. No. I don't think there's going to be enough boats getting between them, and I haven't looked at the results to look at the count back.
Yeah, there's quite a gap back to fourth. You'd probably, if you're Tagara, you'd just throw something at it, wouldn't you?
I was thinking maybe like a jibe set or an early jibe. Yeah, look, it's one of those things you want to throw something at them, but going slow is probably not the best way to beat them.
No, definitely not the right way to beat them, but
Yeah.
there's Bosca build in the background of that shot. It's just jibed. So they finished between, is it a laid mark and the clubhouse?
Correct, yeah. Late mark in the club. On the club, there's a blue diamond on the balcony where our finishers sit on the deck enjoying a Saturday afternoon. And
They get a nice little shardy or
I was
something
about to
to go
say
with
that,
it?
yeah, they put down the shardy for a couple of minutes to finish the boats. They do a great job there on the deck, putting all the results into the computer, getting them up on the web really quickly. So
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of volunteers that just to make any club tick.
look, absolutely. Like we've got, well, once again, three generations of volunteers out here today. So even Glenn York, the foot, is out here, and he's got his granddaughter out here with him, helping out. So it's great to see. That great shot there. A little bit close in on the drone. For the viewers at home, no skiffs were harmed in the making of this broadcast. Okay. So it's Tagara throwing down a challenge. They're getting a little bit deeper, got a bit more breeze, got two on the wire.
You've got blokes on the wire and Noakes have got blokes sitting in.
Noakes trying to just soak to get that in line with his next little bit of pressure coming through, the looks of things. There they go.
Very light on board the Bosca build, working their way to the finish.
Yeah, unfortunately, going a bit that way across the course. Only one on the wire on the Noakes as well. Looks like still two on the wire on the Tagara. It's going to be interesting tactically what they do here. So Noakes jibing. Tagara getting the inside them there, but Noakes going to be able to come back on starboard when they get closer to the finish line. That's if they don't lay it in one, of course. Gee, this race is not over here, Jimmy. Bosca's is lifted right up off camera, and now they're having a jibe to get back to the finish again. Noakes and Tagara coming in with some pressure. The finish marker is the black and white checkered mark that's having a bit of a lay down at the moment. Who's going to get this? Bit of shouting going on. So Bosca, Noakes, Tagara.
Wow, what a finish.
Okay. After 55 minutes of racing, to have three boats finished within basically 3 or 4 seconds, that's pretty good. I don't think we've heard the last of that, but
No, I don't think so either. thought I heard a call for boy room.
Yeah.
So,
Prior to that, I heard of something about Get Up.
yes, something else.
Yeah. I think it was Get Up or something. Yeah. Wasn't any other words, I'm sure. So now we wait on fourth. What we should say is that, barring a disqualification not excludable on Bosca, that officially does give them the club championship.
Noakes is over, not on screen, they're over talking to the committee, so I'd be saying we definitely haven't heard the last of that finish.
Yeah. So on screen there is Lenny. I think Lenny might be either heading back to the club for some early refreshments. I didn't notice him get up into fourth. If he did, congratulations. But I think Troy Becker is probably in fourth there, coming in hot from Pelican Gut. There they are.
Here is the fourth place, Troy Becker.
So they've probably just started around going, what a fairly uneventful race, and not knowing how close 1, 2 and 3 were.
Yeah, 1, 2 and 3, that was definitely the closest racing I've seen down here this season, so
Yeah.
it's good to see.
So Tribeca, Benny Bradley, Jordan Gertis and Rory Cox across fourth. Coming in from the other side of the course is TTR in fifth.
Hearing on the radio, Jack, that they're sending someone over to talk to Lenny
Okay.
to let them know that they will probably run out of time for the time limit.
They'll time out, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, TTR across fifth, and the Beauchamp Metalworkers coming in sixth. A good day for him today. Timmy Narborough has joined the boys, and he's going to start with them all year. That's him just dragging in the water. The kiss of death has hit again. The weight of expectation has put them down.
Go across the place. Oh no, don't. But we're going to need a full burner when we do this. We need notes. Just get nice and close.
The next... Who is the next boat?
The next boat is So Far So Good.
Oh, very good.
Shannon Andrew, Dan McLaughlin, and we've got Will Horan.
Okay, thanks.
Nice job. tell you who will be disappointed with their race today, Jimmy, is Matt Mulholland on the 11-teen. So again, to the race leading the point score with it's obviously this race and the next race to go. Yeah, they'll be hoping for a better race in the second race.
Yeah, well, they're still a ways off finishing and being point score being a handicap thing. And who'd you say they were close with was Bosca.
So that good handicap boat, the Bosca build, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Witchard will be the next one through, it looks like, and they just haven't recovered. They just never recovered from that first swim on that first run. It's always tough on a day like today when there's no breeze. You know, you have a swim, you're not expecting it. It takes all the wind out of your sails, literally, as far as your mental attitude towards the rest of the race.
Well, and then trying to get yourself back up for the next one is the hard part.
Yeah, exactly.
This breeze is really lifting off. Looking at the Wishart there on screen.
So yeah, the 11-teen will be our last boat. I noticed the one of the committee vessels alongside the Lenny at the moment.
Yeah, they were just saying on the radio then, Jack, that to let Lenny know that he declared a finisher on course.
So just off camera, we got the boys off the Noakes asking if everyone enjoyed that finish. So everyone but Tagara.
Well, there had to be someone come first, someone had to come second, someone had to come third.
Correct.
Tagara got the raw end of the stick, but yeah, at the end of the day, that's why they went around that top mark. Tagara did throw something at him, and unfortunately, just a little bit too late.
Yeah. Literally, half a second in it.
But yeah, quite a good finish regardless.
Levantine just coming into the finish now, off camera. There they are. Okay, so that's the last boat across the line. Lenny's coming back now, so yes.
So, Jack, during the week, this incredible club with its rich history lost two great volunteers, sailors, and in Bill Hayward and Wayne Radford. And I believe we've got a couple of notes that we've pieced together, and nice little tribute to both Wayne and Bill.
Yeah, so starting with Wayne sailed 16s here in the probably the 80s and 90s on the Tagara, the famous name with the monkhouses, with Kenny Monkhouse and Brian Monkhouse. After Kenny retired to go and sail MGs with Sam, Wayne and Brian jumped on with Laurie Collis, another famous family from down here. Wayne was one of those top blokes. He just, he hated not putting in, so some people would, go out there a fresh day, he'd never give up. I think Sam was telling me one of the best things was his little photo he had from when at race in the 90s where blew 30 knots, no one else finished, club championship, but they came in with a Woolwear pennant on, won the race, and the only time you're going to frame a photo of a Woolwear pennant. But that was just, never give up. Unless, of course, it was a drifter. So he hated a drifter. But, it was such a, top bloke, and, he lived life his way, and it's a shame he's passed on. The other legendary member of the club that we lost was Billy Hayward. Billy being the grandson of the famous Billo Hayward. Billy sailed down here for decades. Had, I think, 9 16s. He had 3 18s as well. And he started his sort of sailing career under a bit of duress too. He suffered from polio as a kid. Spent some time in an iron lung. Then had to sort of took him about 2.5, 3 years to recover after that, which left his legs with not the most. He wasn't the most nimble bloke after that. But still had some outstanding results. 4-time club champion down here. State team member back in the days. We had to qualify through state and zone and state level to go to a national. So just a incredible guy. He's on the board of directors, life member of the club. Even when he moved into retirement village, he set up a radio yacht club and got up to about 50 boats sailing every week, and he won their club championship, of course. And actually today here out in the water watching the racing, we have Margaret, his wife, Brian, his son, and Bryce, his grandson. So, just want to pass on both the Radfords and the Haywoods all our best wishes, and both blokes are going to be missed. So.
Yeah, and as you can see there on screen, you've got the flags flying at half-mast at the club in respect to both Bill and Wayne, and you'd also notice during that race there today that we seen a lot of all of the 16-foot skiffs on top of the sails there. You can see them there is a black ribbon just in respect to Bill and Wayne, and we wish both their families all the best through this time, and it's always a sad time when you do when these things happen, and as a life member of the same club myself, it's one other life member that's no longer with us, and life membership isn't something that's easily bestowed on somebody. And back in the day down here, when Bill was made a life member, it was for a huge amount of effort that he put into this club, and it's good to see that the club's taken the time to show this respect. And as I said, we're just about to put up the black flag on the start boat in honour and observe a moment's silence. So. And there we go. And if you have a look on the drone shot, you'll see in a sec there's the family of Bill Hayward out on the Mr. Bojangles. So Vale to Bill and to Wayne. So
a little bit of trivia for you, Jimmy. Back in the probably the 40s, I'd say.
Just like yesterday.
Just like yesterday. Billy sailed a 16 at Gosford Regatta with Billo. with Tommy, his father, and his uncle Jack when he was about 9 years old. And that was one of the sort of things that made them introduce an age limit in the 16s back in the day.
There you
Yeah, so
I thought you were going to say whose godfather he was. So I already,
oh, you've looked that up?
I sort of had some intel.
No, okay. I unfortunately don't have that one. One of the other memories I have of Wayne Radford actually is he used to love the darts, and when I say darts, he loved to have a smoke, and he was always the last thing you do before carrying the boat down, or even when he was carrying the boat down, is he'd have a cigarette in his mouth, and as soon as he'd get back in, he'd carry the boards up and put them in their covers, and he'd have a cigarette stashed in the boat shed, ready to go. So,
Good game plan.
Yeah, you'd appreciate that one.
So they're just sort of listening on the radio comms here at the moment. Jack and Brad is talking about trying to shorten up this second race. I think it's just on the radio to the Mark Lane boat.
Yeah, it certainly does look, what's the right word, sick?
Sick is probably the right word. Quite surprised that, I don't know whether it's tradition down this way, a club championship. There you go, the 5-minute flag's up. But do they normally have club championships this deep into the season, late in the season?
Not traditionally. Usually March would be the sort of end. I think, with all the different sailing that everyone's doing nowadays, and the advent of new events like things like Sail GP and what have you in Sydney and everything just seems to be finding it harder and harder to fit in the schedule. So that's why I think, here we are on the, April, 12th? And,
All day?
Yeah, all day. And, still doing club championship heats. But look, it's it's a good test for the sailors all the same. You've got to be able to win in the light stuff as much as you can win in the fresh stuff. So. Go 4 minutes.
Got a little ominous cloud down to the south, Jack. Whether that'll play any havoc on the breeze in any way?
Well, it could, absolutely.
And I've noticed
We're on
compass bearing.
on a compass bearing course, so we won't be doing a figure eight this time round. And I don't think we're going to have a gate, so it'll just be a single bottom mark, single top mark. Unfortunately, I can't see. It looks like a two-lapper.
2 ups. I can read.
Yep.
Look at me go. I'm learning it every day. I'll become a skipper one day.
Yeah, well, that first race being what's known as the Southeast Short Course, which we use for two race days. 55 minutes was probably a little bit longer than our race officer, Brad Andrew, wanted. Having a windward leeward, he can shorten it up a bit better. Yeah, you can see our volunteers on the start boat. You got Lorraine York, you got Brad Andrew, you got who else?
Jib in the way.
The jib in the way. I think Leanne Narborough's on there. Peter Edwards. Who else can I see? There's Gav on there as well. G'day, Gav.
It's a bit like the Sail GP start boat, Jack, with the board down the side so you can't see their faces.
Yeah, that's right.
But clubs can't survive without volunteers, and these guys give up their time very generously, and in a lot of cases, people giving time back to the club. But Lorraine she really didn't have much choice in the matter, being your auntie. Your grandfather would have.
I was about to say, I don't know whether it's because she's my auntie. I think it's probably because she's Bill's daughter.
Yeah, Bill's daughter was. They didn't have anywhere else to go on the weekend. This was their whole life down here. So it still continues with that family, as you know.
But look, there's so many different families involved in sailing and providing time, and although we've commented today about I've got a fair few relatives out here sailing, there's a lot of other families that have deep roots, and going back to Wayne Radford, his kids started flying ants here. He volunteered here and at Yarra Bay. All these families who get in and help. It's the lifeblood of the sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, under a minute. This could be interesting. So you just see on the bottom of the screen there, you got Tagara lining up for what could be a port hand start. I want to see it. That's what the fans want.
It's what the fans need.
So 30 seconds to go, or 35 seconds to go. I think about now Tagara's probably thinking, I don't think we're going to pull this off, boys.
Well, the metal workers are down there with them.
Yeah, they're trying. I think Tagara's going to come up here and tack under Tribeca. Otherwise, they're going to be dipping a lot of boats. There they go. Oh, the Beauchamp metalworkers. This could be, I think we're going to be looking at a general recall. Individual. Individual recall. So the Beauchamp's gone back. Flag is still up.
Tagara has their main dropped. I think they're just trying to slow the boat down to...
Someone else is going back. Tribeca's going back. Now this will be interesting. Who gets back first? Will they drop the flag?
I did a race officer's course many years ago with the RO down here, being Brad Andrew, and he said if I can identify the one boat that isn't over, he goes, I'll keep it up, but the individual flag has come down.
So, we're racing. Advantage Noakes in the race for second.
Big advantage. They're, I think, out in the lead at the moment. There they are on screen.
And not a long race now with being a windward leeward, two-lapper. Willis Cloud might bring a little bit extra, a bit of breeze. Not a lot of time for him to catch up.
A bit like the Belmont Sprints, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, that's right.
You're over, your race is over.
Pretty much.
There's the Bosca build on basically a parade race now, and I think, as you said, Jack, that they'll be fighting hard to make it just a perfect score. Picket fence, dropping a one, it's always a nice little insult to injury.
Yeah, that's definitely a pride thing too, to be able to, you'd be able to go in the bar or even just look back in years to come and go, yeah, remember that season we won every single heat of the club championship. So we've got a real split in the fleet here. We've got Tagara, we've got the Beauchamps, we've got the TTR Civil, the Tribeca and Bosca heading right. Actually 11-10 coming right as well. While the Noakes boys, they're far left. Tagara will have to tack very shortly, otherwise they'll run aground on this side. And with that early advantage that Noakes had, if they will they retain it here?
I think the 11 there on screen would be a lot happier so far in this race, Jack, than
Absolutely. Well, they need to do something to, special now with the point score. I think Bosca probably would have got them on that last race. I dare say even with a few boats in between them. So I'd say Bosca is leading the point score at the moment as well. So if 11 can have a good one here.
let's go 11 so at least we get a few different trophy winners for the presentation night.
Yeah, we don't get a bulk deal on engraving if we have to use the same name again and again, do we? 11 got big Shane Lackey on the sheet, perfect for this sort of weather.
Be loving it. His knees would be squealing.
Look, he's one of the most nimble big guys around I've seen. Let's just leave it at that.
Compared to the few times I filled in for you back in the day, Jack.
Mate, I remember a number of days you filled in for us, Jimmy, and it was very harmonious days on the water back then. Don't think we ever got beat, did we?
No, I don't think we did. Sailed a few with you and Roscoe back in the day.
Yeah, Roscoe. G'day, Roscoe, if you're watching.
I think did one race with Simon. Is that right?
Yeah, with Simon Young, yep.
Yep.
No, Noakes, nothing to worry about here. They're looking okay against Dagara.
And they got Wishart there in the background. I'm assuming we're going to the same top mark, Jack. That'll be the right thing to assume.
Yeah, same top mark. And the clubhouse mark is the bottom mark.
Very good.
But yeah, no, don't have to worry about Waldron Street and Pelican Gut.
Is the Wishart. They're having a lot better race than the previous one. Obviously, they had a swim in the last one, which you never want to remember.
Well, a great philosopher once said that fins down wins the crown. And I think it holds true to this day.
I thought I came up with that, but I'm not a philosopher. I'm sure it was around a lot longer before I said it.
Well, I'm sure it was around a lot longer before Morgo said that to me. So, good. The Wool had his 50th a couple of weeks back up at the Honeysuckle in Newcastle.
That would have been a loose affair.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get there. We were stuck on the water until a bit too late. By the time we got in, it was, loose. So, shout out to Morgo. Sorry I couldn't make it, mate. Okay, so Noakes first around. Win the start and consolidate. Good formula.
Hopefully they noted the change of course on board that boat.
You'd hope so, yeah. Well, we'll find out shortly. Second, the Witchard.
I don't have a picture, John. Okay, I got it back. Lost it again. Come back now.
So the Noakes, Wishart, then the Bosca build.
Well, this could be, devastating to their chances of picket fence here.
I don't think they'll be crying over it somehow, Jack.
Look, just trying to, create a bit of drama.
But it's, as you said, it is a nice little bragging right moment if they can pull it off. And that way that Noakes was sailing in their first race, I'd like to see for them to go on with it, and being the first heats that were scrubbed
It'd be nice for him to get a win. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
bit of justice.
Yeah.
They've definitely got a few boats between them and their nemesis being the Tagara. Next around the top mark is So Far So Good, then Tagara. Then looks like 11-teen.
There's Tribeca and the Beauchamp.
Yep, and then Lenny.
So we actually had a bit of one of the viewers has sort of messaged in when we were talking earlier about Keegan's downwind technique of not having to hold the main sheet. Brad Davis suggested he's now that technique's called the part-time sheet hand.
Part-time. Part-time everything. G'day, Bretto. Yeah, talking about part-time sheet hands, you got Freddie Davis.
I'm not going to comment on the. I don't think I'm a member of the Sheet Hands Union. I only did one season. You can, Jimmy.
I can, yeah.
Yep. I did one season on the sheet with the foot. That was enough. So the Tagara there on screen, they'd be quite disappointed with the first part of this race. Not exactly what they'd envisaged.
So that Noakes boat, is Pete Mackey still owning that? Is that?
I believe so, yes. Yeah. Pete may also have another boat sort of
Sitting there?
squirreled away somewhere. So not that these guys are, not used to leading, but when Bosca's won nearly every race and you get a different boat out in front, it just changes the whole thought process with everything.
A different boat in second too, which is even better.
Now they're not chasing anymore. They're getting chased. So. Coming in for a nice jibe drop, Jerome Watts in the bow.
Made easy work of that.
Yep, nice rounding. Oh, Jerome, back on the wire. There we go. Okay. Are we allowed to call these the Peloton?
You can call them that. Yeah, call it whatever you like.
So, which are having to, being a bit wide on that rounding, allowing Bosca to get inside him here.
Bit generous.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a spinnaker shoot and a conventional spinnaker drop.
And then I think a chance that Amy there letting her sister through, TTR in fourth.
All Noakes has got to do, they've just got to play it smart here and just stay between Bosca and Noakes, I think would be the smart option. All we're doing is working our way back up to that top mark and then a run to the final finish for the season 24-25.
That's right, yeah, even though we're only 15 minutes into the race, we're on the last work. So
Tagara came around that bottom mark in fourth
or fifth?
Fifth.
Yep.
it came around a lot higher than TTR Civil. So stranger things have happened here. And that cloud cover's sort of shifting a bit to the right of the race course. It's above us here.
I think I've still got my money on the Noakes for this one.
I'm with you, Jack. If the bookies are listening, I'm happy for an early payout.
Bosca's shot there. Noakes in the lead, tacking and crossing across Bosca's bow.
Wish just having to take the stern of Bosca. I keep saying it, Jack, I'm always blown away down here, the amount of water around here and the underutilisation of it by people sailing and so forth just always blows me away. It's
yeah, look, the good thing we have down here, as opposed to, say, the harbour, is we don't have a lot of commercial operations. There's things like ferries and what have you. So, it's there is some areas where it's a little bit congested and a few more moorings are in than there used to be, especially up in Woolooware, but still, we can still race plenty of boats down here, and most of the traffic you have is from your own club, so it's actually a pretty easy place to sail, fun place to sail. Very rarely do you ever going to get a situation where a 100-foot yacht's coming at you on starboard, or
it's not deep enough here. Thank
it's
God.
Not correct. You have to be a very good navigator to get one of those boats this far up the river, or even into the bay.
It sounds like a challenge you're throwing out to Grant Warrington and the Wild Thing. They managed to get their way up estuaries everywhere in Queensland and so forth with their water ballast bags and so forth.
I was about to say, 1,000 kilos on the end of the boom and a canning keel can get you a lot of places.
There's Bosca and Noakes in the background of that shot there, and I think Bosca is starting to throw it at Noakes, although
I think Noakes has still got it at the moment, but they've certainly come back at him.
Short distance to this top mark, Jack. You'd be, if you're not wanting a phone call from one Baz Atkins on Monday morning, you'll be covering.
You certainly will be. Which I'm sure we'll see the Noakes if and when they cross the Bosca, they're swiftly followed by a tack in their face. See, Noakes just got a bit more pressure there, and they've actually just given themselves a little bit of breathing space to be able to position that tack nicely. Still an option there if they do it for Bosca to tack back out. They're not near lay just yet. Oh, there we go.
Wow. This could be a reality for the Bosca build if Noakes keep doing things like that and letting them off the hook.
Well, in saying that, maybe they're looking at the overall, cementing their second place, and the Tagara's going out to the left, so maybe they're just heading left a little bit to put a loose cover on the Tagara. So
true, very true.
Not a bad strategy if your goal is the overall series rather than just a single race.
Be nice though to be the one that stole one picket off the fence though.
Well, that'd be good. Every time they're in the bar telling the story about how they won every race, and you can just say, not every race.
Not every, yeah. You can see how light it is there. Like you got Kurt up in front of the side stays. Sarah is
still hiking.
Just hiking.
bit of separation there. Even there with Sarah sit, maybe need to, a couple of inches forward.
Well, the whole 10 kilos of Sarah. But I think, this instance, like how far forward Kurt and Keegan particularly are, like they're right on top of each other there.
You're suggesting the 200 kilos at the shrouds is probably a
good counter
to the 45 or whatever at the back. So Bosco will be tacking very shortly here. It looked to be on lay to me. Off camera, Noakes, probably similar pressure.
Here comes the cross.
Jimmy has heard from Brett Davis again. He said you're allowed to call him the part-time sheet hand because you taught him everything he knows.
I think Brett taught me. Now all Noakes has got to do is try and hang on to ruin that perfect scorecard for the Bosca.
Okay, so Noakes round for the final time of this season. Saying that, it's this season of point score racing. We do have the Anzac Day race down here at St George for the 53rd ACAC Trophy.
Which is open to all 16s?
Open to all 16s. If you're doing nothing, come on down. It's in the memory of all our service people that have done so much for this great country. Tell you what, from a commentating and I'm sure from a camera perspective, this end of daylight savings hasn't helped with the low sun, has it?
Oh, it's great.
Okay, Witchard third around. Much better race compared to the first one.
Well, I think it's probably, since races that we've covered this year down here, Jack, definitely their best performance to date.
Yeah.
And then next to come around is TTR Civil.
So, Mish in the bow, he'd be happy this is his last set. He's filling in today and he was a bit worried having not started a skiff all season, so.
You get the call up this late in the season.
Really show you how light it is there. Sarah sitting in the middle of the boat. Only one on the wire.
A Simo jibe between the Bosca build and the Noakes.
At what price, Jimmy, for someone coming around that top mark and picking up a little subtly and running all the way to the finish?
I've already been paid out by the...
I know you already have, but,
Stranger things have happened, that's for sure, and we've seen it even today. glad when we run the camera boat back up the coast, I won't be looking straight into it. Into
Okay,
this glare.
Noakes just getting rolled then by Bosco. Both boats going to have to negotiate a little bit of wash. And although it's not Sydney Harbour, and Shippo's not here.
Shippo's got friends in high places
He
everywhere.
does, they're
mate.
everywhere, yeah. We need to come up with a different name for down here, I think, rather than a different fruit.
Pineapple, maybe?
Oh. The wrong end of the pineapple.
They definitely are the wrong end of a pineapple, half of them.
We could say maybe a gooseberry.
Okay.
Gooseberry, yeah, gooseberry, goose. Anyway, back to the racing.
You've got Bosco there with Noakes behind, and one that's closing in is Wishart.
Yeah.
That will come into they'll come into shot. There they are.
And so the finish this time will be between the start boat and the laid mark, the black and white checkered mark.
Lucky I brought you along, Jack.
That's why you pay me the big bucks, Jimmy.
Huge.
2 cans of Coke every week.
Hold on, what do you get paid?
Okay, so you have there on shot Bosco Build to the lead, running out on starboard. We've got Noakes about to drive. Oop. Yep. It looks like Bosco is going to get their picket fence.
Lucky I got paid out early.
Yeah.
Looks like they're all going
Rookies
to
have
have
had a
to
bad
drive
day.
back as well to get to this finish.
Only a couple of 100 metres down to the finish for Bosco to round out a perfect series. Well, this is confusing.
Get right in on.
There's a laid mark on either side of the start boat, so I hope all these skiffs have read their sailing instructions.
We're at the right one though, aren't we?
We
Jack?
are at the correct one.
See, and I don't read sailing instructions, so that's even better.
See, the other classes are still finishing in front of the club, so that's why that other checkered mark is still in play. Congratulations, Bosco Build.
Yeah, absolutely.
First
Congratulations.
places in every heat.
Keegan's still having plenty to say.
Yeah, it's trying to sort that protest out.
Next across the line, you're going to have Noakes with Wishart not far behind, but well done to Noakes. That secures their second
It does. Yep, second overall.
overall. Wishart, a great result in that race, and we've got a really close finish here with a MG square running through the middle of it, but TTR Civil
Followed.
just in front of
Tagara.
Tagara.
So that MG obviously didn't read their sailing instructions. They're going through the wrong finish line.
Yeah, I do believe I heard your brother offering up free advice.
So this could be 11-teen. Challenging here, Tribeca for next.
And the metal workers.
There's plenty on here, guys. Interesting strategy.
Very interesting strategy.
Yeah, I'm not entirely certain what happened then.
It's something new. You've seen it here first, folks. So
Not that I'm sure what we saw.
all smiles on board Tribeca, that's for sure. So
I don't think they will be on 11-10 with their point score on the line. They still haven't finished. This is gonna hurt them.
they're up. That's one thing. Now they've just got to get across the line.
As quickly as possible.
There you go. They're across the line. So that just leaves.
We've got the
So far, so good. And Lenny out on the race course. So we might take the opportunity to wrap up proceedings. Congratulations to Sarah Lee, Keegan and Kurt today for wrapping up the Club Championship aboard the Bosca build. Thanks, Jack, as always. Been a huge help from the outset, even prior to the season, doing recce's on where to put our camera boat in and retrieve it, which has been a huge help. Today we obviously took the easier option of running down the coast in the bigger camera cat. So
luxurious.
A bit of luxury, and no, thanks very much. Thank you very much to the St George Sailing Club for engaging the services of Sail Media to highlight the sailing down here at the St George Sailing Club. The club is doing exceptionally well financially, and it's a credit to the staff down here that make it all happen. Thanks again to all the volunteers and all the guys on board here today. We had Alex, Jono, Sam and Chits back there making it all these pictures and so forth come to you today. Thanks to the guys for putting in the extra little effort there for the veil, to both Bill and Wayne. We from discussions with the club, we probably won't be back here live streaming the club championships next year. We will be having a presence down here, but it won't be in a live stream format. Unfortunately, we'll probably delay it another year before we come back down here in that format. But we definitely will be having a presence down here as Sail Media for the clubbies, and particularly the Botany Bay Championship and some other championships and bits and pieces that the club will engage us for on that front. But thanks once again, Jack. As I said, mate, it was a lot of this wouldn't have happened without your help, your knowledge, and especially the local knowledge out here on the water of where I can and can't go, giving me thumbs up or thumbs down. So, mate, I really do appreciate it, and look forward to catching up with you definitely for presentation night, which I'll be coming down to have a celebratory drink with you, mate, and then we go back for a few more after that somewhere else. So, but thanks everyone for tuning in, and this has been a Sail Media production for the St George Sailing Club. Thank you.